Hello and welcome back to NoBS. Today we return to talking about the next upcoming holiday that's coming in just about a week or so. I'm of course talking about Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is coming up soon. It's the beginning of the holiday season here in America, and as usual, typically this is the time of year that we're told that Thanksgiving is bad and we can't celebrate it and we're not allowed to have it and all kinds of other stuff. This happens almost every year. It's been happening for a number of years here on this channel since we've been up and running, and this year is a little different though. So the same kind of theme is there. There's people on the left, usually Democrats or liberals or leftists, they're trying to cancel Thanksgiving, but the reasons for the cancellation are changing a little bit. You see, typically they try to call it racist and they try to act like Thanksgiving is this evil celebration of genocide or something crazy like that. They try to take it back into time and judge the Pilgrims and the Indians based on modern sensibilities, and they use that as a way to attack America too. This is coming from them basically hating America, our traditions, and our way of life. They don't want us to be free and to celebrate things like this great holiday that comes from before we were even a country here. But now, moving on to this year, they have a new excuse. It's their favorite excuse. It's the excuse they've been using to push through and make everything they want happen this year. I'm of course talking about the pandemic. So this virus that's been spreading around since the beginning of 2020, that's the new excuse and the reason for why these leftists want to cancel Thanksgiving now. And this is particularly interesting considering who it's coming from and how they've acted recently. So for example, for that today, we're going to talk about one specific prominent Democrat named Lori Lightfoot. She's the mayor of Chicago. She's failed that city horribly since she's been in charge there. And she's one of the people also trying to cancel Thanksgiving, which is rather ironic, rather hypocritical, since her, like many other Democrats, they were just out in the streets celebrating a supposed win for the presidential election like a week ago. So just a few days ago, they're celebrating in the streets with no mask, saying, hey, let's go out, let's celebrate. If it's pro-Democrat, we could do it. But now when it comes to Thanksgiving, they're like, no, you can't have people over to your house. If you do, it has to be 5 or 10 people or something really strict like that. So it's rather hypocritical coming from them. We're going to talk more about it soon. But first, let's take a quick moment to check out our sponsor. The Fighter Flare flashlight is the only tactical flashlight I trust with me and my family's livelihoods. It's the perfect mix of a personal protection tool and a survival tool all put into one. Plus, it's also solar powered, so you never have to worry about wires or batteries ever again. A good tactical flashlight is also powerful enough to have enough brightness to blind an attacker, durable enough to handle getting dropped, thrown, or smashed, and it's reliable enough to never stop working even in the harshest environments. The Fighter Flare flashlight comes with all this and more, so check out my link and get the Fighter Flare flashlight today at www.fighterflare.com or click the link below this video in the description. You'll get an additional discount in celebration of Black Friday by entering my promo code NoBS30. So check it out and get your Fighter Flare flashlight today while supplies last, and thanks for your time. Now back to the show. Great, now that that's out of the way, let's get more into this story. So if you go to Google right here and do a simple search, it says Thanksgiving canceled is what I searched, and you could see it's coming up in a number of articles. First, you got it's not too late to cancel Thanksgiving. This is from MIT, a technical school, a very left-leaning university. This is an article from The Atlantic straight up saying cancel Thanksgiving. And next, AP says experts say no need to cancel Thanksgiving, but play it safe. So the third one isn't the worst. That's not as bad, but the first two are certainly trying to take over Thanksgiving. And what you got to keep in mind is, like we said in the intro, they claim to have reasons, but the truth is they just want to cancel it. They want to cancel all holidays. In about a month, they're going to talk about canceling Christmas, probably New Year's. They've canceled everything throughout this year. And this is stuff they've been trying to do every year. So the fact that they bring up the pandemic as the excuse this year, it should really make your head turn, because this is just a goal of theirs that they've had forever, and they're using whatever way they can to make it happen. So previously they used lamer excuses like racism and misjudgments throughout history, and now they're using this pandemic, which admittedly sounds more reasonable, like, oh, you're trying to save people from a virus, you don't want people to get infected. But the truth is they're just using that as an excuse. Really, people can still gather. You could still have a safe, careful gathering of your family. You could make sure everyone's tested. Lots of ways to have precautions and to still make Thanksgiving happen. So with that said, now let's move on to the Chicago side of this story. I want to talk about how this Mayor Lightfoot has been such a hypocrite about this. She's ruined the city of Chicago, and now she's asking residents to cancel Thanksgiving plans and stay indoors as cases rise. So that's the thing. That's the big kind of push. It's obviously connected to the pandemic. Other thing to note is they're always talking about cases. They're never talking about how many deaths, how many people actually are fatally injured because of the virus, because the case number scares people more, even though if you pay attention and you know what's going on, you can tell that 99.9% of these cases turn out to be okay. They turn out to be non-fatal and to just give a person a sickness basically for a week or two, and then they can recover. So it's not as scary as they claim. They're trying to impress you and trying to manipulate you, and they're doing so after having done the same thing they're trying to tell you not to do. They're hypocrites. They're going out and celebrating in the streets. They're doing these protests and demonstrations throughout the summer, like the ones for BLM and other things like that, the riots. They say that's okay, but you can't have Thanksgiving with your family. And I think that kind of hypocrisy is why people are so upset about this. Here's a picture of Lori Lightfoot. This is a March photo, and the article reads on. It says, Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot on Thursday asked all residents to cancel Thanksgiving plans and stay at home unless they need to go to work or school or to attend essential needs such as doctor's appointment or grocery shopping. Chicago said it was issuing the 30-day stay-at-home advisory, asking people to refrain from traveling, having guests in their home, or leaving for non-essential business in response to the rapid rise of COVID cases and hospitalizations in the city. This is serious life and death, Lori Lightfoot said during a press conference discussing the stay-at-home advisory, adding that the city is doing what is necessary to slow the spread of the virus. We are sounding the alarm that we are at this inflection point where we have to do more than we've already done. So again, this sounds reasonable on the surface. If you don't read between the lines, yes, we want to stop the spread. We don't want people to get sick. We don't want things to go bad. But the truth is, it's not as scary or as deadly or as needing to be worried about as they claim. They really want more control. It's like how they've controlled everything this year. It's like how they manipulated the way things happened throughout the election, the whole news cycle, the debates were influenced by this virus. They use this virus as an excuse to do other things they already want to do. Like, for example, the debates comes up to mind, and I'm like thinking about how they wanted to do a virtual debate. They wanted to change the rules for this or that reason. And a lot of times they blame the virus. Everything they want to do, they use the virus as an excuse. And it just kind of reminds me of this kind of old government tactic. They use panics and scare tactics and these big stories. They overhype them. They get the media on their side to scare you with things like, for example, a bad weather storm could cause them to get more power and consolidate it to the top ranks. A war is a big thing that has been used in the past, like wars in the Middle East or in other places that we really don't have much investment, but we go there and the government uses that excuse to get more soldiers and get more power, get more of a military and stuff like that. Different disasters have caused this to happen. It's just similar kind of thing happening in the present, happening in real time, and just hypocritical. I mean, because it's like we said, I mean, I want to flash forward to this other article first, I guess, because this is the one where they say Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot defends joining crowd celebrating Biden-Harris win as cases surge. So as the cases surge, the celebrations are allowed. They're allowed to go out in the streets. And as you can see here, this is a video. We don't need the sound, but basically she's in the middle of a bunch of people. She's not wearing a mask. A lot of people aren't wearing masks. They're in a crowded place. They're in the middle of the city. This is celebrating the Biden supposed win. And it just goes to show that they do this one day and then the next day they're canceling Thanksgiving. It's pretty crazy that they're so blatant about the hypocrisy. They're so just in your face. They don't care. They think that we're stupid. They think that we don't see these kinds of juxtapositions, this kind of double standard, this do as I say, not as I do, rules for thee, but not for me. That's the way Democrats are truly operating. I'm not making this up. This isn't a video that's doctored or deep faked. This is Lori Lightfoot in the streets just a few days before telling us we can't have Thanksgiving celebrations because of the virus. And I think it just goes to show this is just one of many demonstrations they've had. They've had BLM riots. They've had Antifa storming places, people gathering outside of voting places to intimidate people. All that stuff is okay. All that stuff is just let go. They don't even mention stopping it. This biased mayor is definitely one of the bad ones. And that's why this article about canceling canceling Thanksgiving is so ridiculous. And you got to wonder, I mean, we have some guesses and some ideas, but you got to really think more, like, why do they want to cancel Thanksgiving? I can guess, we can spin a yarn about it. It's pretty obvious that they don't like American holidays or American traditions or people getting patriotic or too invested in their country, because they don't want you to love your country. They don't even want you to love your family. They want you to be a sort of indentured servant that only worships the Democrats in their state, in their big brother state, and their ruling of the government. They want the government to be your big daddy. And that's why they don't encourage things like families. They don't like marriage. They want more divorces, more single parents. That's why single parents are rewarded with extra welfare. You get rewarded for things like that. And in addition, right, it's typical left-wing Marxist ideology. They don't like people that are religious and celebrating holidays and gathering and talking. They don't want you mingling with your family. Like, it gives you a chance to discuss things and say, hey, what do you think about what happened this election cycle? What do you think about what happened over the summer? They don't want that open discussion. They want you just isolated at home alone, listening to the news, not talking to anyone else. If you say the wrong things, you get your accounts deleted or muted or silenced or shadow banned. And it's the same kind of thing with Thanksgiving. They don't like America. They don't like our holidays, our traditions, and they want to just ruin them. And that's what we're dealing with. That's why I say Thanksgiving, the cancellation thing, it needs to go. It's a common meme that is nothing really new, but it does have this new angle. And today's story has the whole Chicago mayor getting in on this silliness that I think is really bad, coming from a terrible actor. This is the worst mayor, quite possibly, of all time. Her city is not only dying from this virus more than others, it's also suffering from crime, from gang-related deaths, lots of bad things happening in Chicago because of corruption, because of bad leadership. People like Lori Lightfoot, the Obamas come from the political scene there. Lots of people embezzling money, not doing the right thing, not actually trying to help the people. Really, they're trying to help themselves. So with that said, that about wraps things up. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure you comment your thoughts on everything below, subscribe if you're new, and hit that bell for notifications too. Until next time, see you on the next one.